In this video, we'd like to look at an Android application that asks the user to enter the answers to a number of security questions. And then when they press a button, it will just concatenate together the answers to those security questions. And then if the user were to change any of his or her answer, then the concatenated result will be cleared out. And by shared clear in the name seen here in the URL, we mean that the code, the clearing code, is going to be sort of written by us sort of once. So first we'll look at the layout, which we see here on the AVD. There are a series of text boxes next to edit texts for the user to enter the question. So we see here in the design, here's the first label, the edit text, and it has as its text just says question 0, which is not what appears on the screen. So we're going to be adding the questions in code. And what's important to note here is this sort of shared clearing, this sort of working with the text views and the edit text sort of as a group. We are going to rely on the fact that they're going to have this systematic naming. So the first text view has an ID of TV question 0, and then the next one where it says mother's maiden name, that's going to be TV question 1, and so on. And then the same thing for the edit text. So next to that text view saying city of birth is an edit text where the user can enter their result, and that is also systematically named. So this is ET. So I use a prefix ET for an edit text and a prefix TV for a text view. And basically it's text view, edit text, text view, edit text, text view, edit text, 4 of them, and then a button. So there are the text view, edit text, 4 of them, and then a button, and then a text view at the bottom for the result. So that is our layout for this. And then I've filled in, I've acted as a user already and entered in some answers and hit enter. And then if we start to change any answer, I've cleared out the result. And if I hit the button, it starts again. And then if I start to change this somewhere else in another box, it also clears. So all those clearings, writing all those clearings sort of one time for us as a coder is sort of what this exercise is about. Okay, so over to the code. We have our various imports and the onCreate. And so here is an array of questions. So in design, the text views did not list the question, just said question 0, question 1. Here are the sort of abbreviated questions here. And so this array is going to be used to populate the text of the text views to display the questions. In 31 and 32, I am connecting, this is my interface. I had an ID of button enter. It belongs to the resources. It belongs to the list of IDs in oh dear. So the resources IDs button enter, I'm finding a view, I'm casting it as a button, and I'm calling it button enter, and I tend to make that code name and this ID name the same. Same thing for the text view at the bottom for the result. I have a view index for just an index to keep track of the sort of 4 things, which one then I am working with. So now here is button enter click. So we're clicking the button. I am just toasting up, sort of saying, hey, so that you can see, then I click the button and then I have this listener working. And then I tried another version in place of this for the context, application context, because there's sometimes issues with this. I am starting off with, this is the concatenated user answers. I'm starting off with just quote, quote, and now here I am looping through the range of numbers 0 through 3, which are my sort of indices. I had it TV 0 and TV question 0 and TV question 1 and so on. And then the same thing for the edit text. And here I am getting the ID of the widget based on the ID. So I'm putting together I have this systematic naming scheme. And so here I am sort of concatenating my counter I along with the string ET question to create that ID that I had over in design. And then I am looking within the IDs within my package. So my package defines a sort of namespace. So I'm looking within my package for something with this ID. And then I'm getting it's sort of behind the scenes ID. So this is its like design ID, and then Android Studio will give it its own sort of official ID, which will be, I think, a long. And then I'm using that ID here to make the connection between the interface and the code. And then I'm taking the text of that view. This was an edit text. So this is something the user typed in, taking its text, converting it to a string, and adding a vertical bar sort of as a delimiter. And so I loop through that 4 times and sort of put the user's 4 answers together. And I have sort of an extra delimiter at the end. So at first, I just plopped it into TV results, and then I was unhappy with the extra delimiter. So then I used this drop last method and dropped the last character, which was that extra delimiter, and displayed that in TV results. And that's the end of my set on click listener. So that's what happens when they click the button. Now I'm back to something just in on create. So this is something that will happen as I sort of bring up the interface. Again, another loop using my systematic ID scheme. And here I am playing the same game of going to the resources. I'm using the ET question and concatenating it with the number to make the ID, and then looking in the package name for that ID and getting the resource, and then getting my view. So this is an edit text. My view is an edit text. And then I also do the same thing for the text view question. And this time I called it my label. And here I'm setting the text. So this is how I got the questions. So in design, it just said question 0, question 1. Here's how I got the actual question: city of birth, mother's maiden name, and so on. So grabbing the labels sort of dynamically and filling them with questions. And then my view was an edit text, and I am giving it a text change event. So I'm going to listen for text changes. And I'm doing this for my view, but my view, I'm in a loop, and my view is a different text view each time. So I'm adding 4 listeners, but I'm writing this code for listeners just this once. And add text change has the 3 methods, the sort of the before, the after, and I call it the during. And I only want to work with the during. And if they are for any of the 4 edit texts changing their text, I'm going to clear it out. And that's why I call this thing shared clear. That then down here I'm writing the code once, but for all the separate clear. So instead of writing 4 separate clear codes, I'm writing 1 clear code, but there are 4 separate listeners, of course. And that's it. That's what I wanted to show you.